Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to the one and only Manic Noize Podcast. Turn it up.
Hello and welcome to the Manic Noize Podcast. I'm Hayden Douglas, and welcome back to another show. As a comedian and a metalhead, there's one guest that I've always wanted to fucking get on this show, and it's finally happened. Steve motherfucking Hughes is in the house, drummer for Mortal Sin, Nazxul, Slaughter Lord, and in my opinion, the best comic to ever come out of this goddamn country. We got into a bunch of shit, went fucking super hard on the PC bullshit going on today. That was fun. Steve got pretty personal talking about his mental health issues. That was a really interesting chat. And yeah, we've been through a lot of similar shit in a lot of ways, so that was pretty crazy. Talked about heavy metal, Steve's transition from being in metal bands to doing stand-up comedy, state of comedy today. Man, it was just a wicked chat with an awesome guy. I was lucky enough to do some shows with Steve this week and see a bunch of his shows, and man, what a fucking masterclass in comedy. So enjoy this chat with Steve Hughes. If you like the show, please subscribe to whatever app you listen to it on. Give it a 5-star rating or a positive comment. Tell your friends. Follow on social media at Manic Noize with a Z. Follow me at Old Mate Douglas. Bang that head, have a fucking giggle with Steve Hughes.
Podcast initiation complete. Warning. This episode may cause brain damage.
Hey, this is Trevor Sternat from the Black Dahlia Murder here. You're listening to the Manic Noize Podcast.
All right, welcome to the show. And we're here with Steve Hughes. What's happening, man?
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here on the couch ready to do the show.
Nice.
Next to a tiny little dog who's wearing a hoodie.
How do you feel about the hoodie?
It's kind of cute. I mean, he's a cute little mutt, and he's got his little hoodie on, and he's a ball of energy, aren't you, mate?
But be honest, there is a party that hates the fact that the dog's wearing a hoodie, right?
Not really.
It is a pretty cute dog.
It's you know, look at him. There we go. Crash out with your hoodie on.
Yeah, to anyone listening, there is a dog involved here.
There is actually. We're not making this up.
It's a postmodern dog. It just exists in theory.
He's got a little hoodie.
So, man, you were only here, 2 months ago?
Yeah, about that. About 2 months ago, something like that. Here in Perth. We're in Perth.
Perth, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. We're wherever they are. Yeah, and so you're back now. And doing club runs. We've talked about this a little bit before, but your show was an hour and a half when you came here a few months ago.
Yeah, my show can go from an hour and 15 to an hour and 50.
Yeah. Then seeing last night, seeing you do 30-minute set and seeing the shorter 15-minute set.
I probably went a bit longer than 30 minutes, probably.
And you went longer than 15 too. But I was enjoying it. And the crowd was too.
Yeah.
But how do you, with those short sets, is it just more loose and free, or do you... Because your bits are, a lot of them, you're 7 minutes chunk of...
Well, no, not all of them, but it's sometimes a short set. You can't... Like that last show, which is a lot about political correctness and the word that can't be mentioned, feminism. It's difficult if you're doing a 15-minute set to get into it because, you've got to explain... Not explain I'm doing this joke because of this, but it's, I'm not just some lunatic who hates PC people because I'm upset. It's like I got a comment section on my YouTube channel the other day because I do a bit about political correctness, and some guy, so this guy's offended that people get offended. No, I'm not offended that you're offended. You have every right to be offended. You have no right to then cast your I'm offended onto other people as if somehow they're responsible for your feelings. And I'm not happy about the fact that we live in a system that's starting to legislate this into sort of things like hate speech, and where I could be in trouble if I've... Basically, you want to create a place where there's actual laws around insulting someone.
Yeah.
Even if it's not an intentional insult. It's just that you happen to hear me say something on stage you don't like, and now somehow this could be... Your reaction to this is my responsibility. So I'm not offended that you get offended. You have every right to be offended. You have every... who am I to stop you being offended? Yeah, but yeah, and nothing happens when you get offended. It happens in your world, I understand you could offend someone who's quite an extreme person and you could get yourself in danger. Because people have strong political, religious, moral belief systems. You could,
yeah.
if you want to go to a place like Northern Ireland and say the wrong thing and someone gets offended about something that's highly charged politically that has to do with war and so forth, yeah, you could get yourself in trouble.
They'll throw a potato at you.
Well, they might cut your knees off.
Yeah, true.
But you know, no, so yeah, I'm not offended that people get offended. I'm not interested in having a world that's starting to legislate, you know, that I could perhaps go to prison because you decried that I insulted you.
Yeah. I find it weird too because comedy's supposed to be dangerous. It's supposed to be talking about the shit that, you know.
Well, comedy's supposed to be many things. Well, number one, make you laugh.
What's the main one? Yeah.
At the end of the day,
it's helpful.
You know, that's the first thing when young comedians ask me. So, you know, because the comedy I do. So, do you think about doing this and think about? Like I said, before you think about thinking, you can want to talk about hardcore political or social issues. One, make sure you're interested in them, and two, but first off, before that, make people laugh. Are you funny, mate? That's the first thing about comedy. And of course, comedy comes in different. I love comedy that's just, you know. As I said, there's people who'll get upset if I tell them that Michael McIntyre makes me laugh. They go, how do you like this poncy guy jumping around the stage in his suit being all poncy? And because I think he's got great jokes and he makes me laugh. Well, you know, I can't stop what I laugh at. That's why I never understand people at comedy gigs who sort of think about, should I laugh at that? I've never thought, laughter just comes out of me.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I hear something funny, I'm just laughing. And my brain doesn't kick in and go, is this okay to laugh at, you know? I've seen jokes that are, you know, they're on the edge. They're like, that's pretty hardcore, but
is it funny?
Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not funny, sometimes there might be a bit of me that thinks, I wouldn't do that's a pretty hardcore joke, but it is a joke. I know that the PC people say, no, it doesn't matter that it's a joke because it has repercussions and rah-rah. Yeah, but it's not your job to monitor that for the rest of us and think that you have some kind of jurisdiction.
And to take the intent out of it. Like my granddad, when I was little, whenever I'd do something stupid, he'd go, oh, you're a bloody dickhead. But that was his way of saying he loved me. And that's one of my fondest memories of my granddad is him laughing and going, yeah, bloody dickhead. But on paper, my grandfather saying, you're a bloody dickhead. You know, and it's if you take the intent out, you lose everything.
Yeah, comedy. I can't remember the original question.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
But first up, yeah. Be funny. And don't try and be... See, I don't try to be controversial. It's never my intention. I've just always liked that kind of stuff. Hardcore music. Old Jello Biafra, Henry Rollins, outspoken stuff. I liked horror films. I liked... you know, thrash and death metal and whatever, black metal and stuff that's kind of... So it just seems kind of normal to me. To what people would think, is that a bit extreme? I go, I don't know, I just like it. I just always liked extreme metal and stuff. I don't like it because it's extreme and I want to stand out. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't listen to it.
Yeah.
Because I like Enya too. It's not extreme, but...
Well, it is, though, in the complete opposite end. Like,
yeah, and so comedy, to me, doesn't have to be politically aware or astute because it comes in many forms, surreal, and sometimes I love it. That's what I like about Malcolm McIntyre because he never swears. He gets 20 minutes out of the kitchen drawer where you keep the elastic bands and the paper bags and the hair clips, and as much as if you don't like Michael or he ticks you off some way or you don't think it's... Mate, I can't get 20 minutes out of that kitchen drawer. I don't know how to write comedy like that, and I'm quite impressed. That you know, and he never swears, and he and I don't swear to try and be funny. I just swear because I grew up in Australia, and sometimes I'm watching my shows back and I go, oh God, why did you say fuck there? You don't need that. You don't need that fuck there. It just came out. Yeah, you know,
breaking the fuck meter.
So, but probably my favourite comedy is. But then I don't know because you know then I just like comedy. It's stupid.
Yeah. Like, for me, Brody Stevens, or I don't know if you've seen Rory Scovel.
No, I haven't seen these.
Just odd, fucking weird. Like, Rory Scovel's special, he comes out and just goes, anal, who's tried anal? And everyone's off guard. But the 10 minutes is him just trying to get the audience to talk about anal. And the way he goes about it is that fucking funny because there's no real bit in it. But I could never do that.
No, I couldn't do it.
It's not... But then again, like one of my openers is about like having bad gigs and like good gigs like getting a blowjob, having a bad gig's like getting a blowjob, but from your dad. And someone said to me the other day, oh, do you do that because is that shock thing? And I went, no, I was on the phone to my dad, and then later on I thought, that's pretty funny. And then just said it. I
have no intention of shocking the audience. I like to shock them out of their
mundane bullshit.
Well, just the fact that this PC stuff's it's very intense now. I mean, it was great last night. These two women were talking to me at the end of the show last night, these young girls, and just one of them was going, oh, it's so good just to hear someone say stuff that we're all not supposed to say. And she goes, I just loved it so much, but that's not my, as I said, we were talking about, I've never thought, right, I want to be controversial and shocking, and it just did what I did. I liked the stuff I liked. And I liked Bill Hicks when I heard it. I liked, that was kind of, to me, that was kind of social commentary like Jello Biafra and Henry Rollins, but with better jokes, done by a proper comedian.
Yeah.
Whereas Henry Rollins, I don't particularly like Henry Rollins' spoken word stuff much. And I did back in the day because I found it interesting in the sense that I'd never seen anything like this when he started to bring out the spoken word albums, and Jello Biafra did them. So to me, because I learned all that through my punk mates, because I wasn't into punk, and then I just kind of liked it. This is cool. There's nothing like this in metal. These guys just go up and sort of rant and make records and talk, and I thought that is great, But I have no intention to go out there. I just do it. It's like Jim Jeffries. Does he do it to be like this? No, I'd live with Jim. I know Jim. Jim's just like this. Yeah. I couldn't do some of the jokes Jim does. We were talking about that last night, remember? Just because I'm not...
You're not Jim.
No, I'm not Jim. And some of the things that he says, if I said them, you'd feel creepy because I'd feel a bit weird in myself, whereas Jim says them, but he doesn't feel creepy or weird because he just says them. And that's why you don't feel as creepy or weird, because he can get away with it. But if I said it, you go, oh, this is a bit... Because I wouldn't be myself.
Yeah. Well, even Jim's spoken about it, though, how he has that bit, and he said, I think it was a special or two ago, he sets it up by saying, this is a joke I wrote 10 years ago, but I can only get away with it now. I could never be gay, I could never fuck a man, because I could never fuck something I respect. And it's so Jim Jeffries, but imagine him trying to do that at an open mic.
It's a great joke.
Fucking oath.
And that's why PC's so boring, because, that's a joke.
That's why it's funny, because it's fucked up.
See, a joke is... I used to do a joke back in the old days when I was far more of a lefty. When I first moved to England, I'd go, I'm from Australia, and a lot of people say Australia's quite racist. And I go, it's not really, probably only about 90% of them, right? Because the other 10% are black, right? Right. Now obviously that's not true, but it's just an exaggeration of a point to point out. Yeah, there's some issues with this type of stuff in this country at times, especially when I grew up in the 70s. It's nowhere near as bad as it was now, which is funny because they're all running around freaking out now, and these young kids. I'm going, well, you should have been here in the 70s, mate. Yeah. Right. So it's nowhere near it's much more liberal and open-minded here now. So. But obviously not 90% of white Australians or Asian Australians were complete racists. But that's what a joke is, isn't it? It's an exaggeration to express a point about a situation. Of course it's not true. Not all of it's true. That's what an angle of comedy is. This is same as Jim Jeffries what, he has no respect for women? No, this is...
It's funny to say.
It's an exaggeration of a point to make you piss yourself laughing.
How the fuck are we in 2019, 40 years after Pryor and all that shit? Why do we have to define what a joke is at this point?
I don't know. It's the same as they sit around in these talk shows and go, do you think you have the right to offend anyone? What? That's not even a question of relevance. The right to offend anyone? I could walk down the street wearing some unfashionable clothes that may offend someone. Believe me, if I wandered around with my skinny legs and bony ass in a pair of tights, I'd offend someone. Mainly myself, as I saw my reflection in the shop window. Right?
I was offended at that fucking jean shop we went to today. Everyone, I walked in the door there. I'm like, what the fuck is this place? I'm not allowed in here.
Yes, you are.
Everyone was so cool.
Yeah, they thought they were cool. They were trendy. They were good looking.
They were trendy and good looking.
They look good in pants and jeans, but I'm getting old. I don't care anymore. They sell some good jeans. They're nice people. You realise as you get older, a lot of the people you judge when you realise. My flatmate's brother owns the only 24 or the first 24-hour gym in Melbourne, and you meet a lot of these weightlifter guys, big guys, and blokes coming from the sort of world I lived in. I probably would have judged all my life as dickheads and thick and arseholes, and then you meet half of them, they're like, oh, this bloke's cool, switched on, lovely bloke. Yeah. Just, loves pumping weight 8 hours a day and eating steroids. He's a nice bloke. Yeah. No, like
he's got shrunken testes, but he's a good guy.
Yeah. But you realise, you judge a lot of things that you aren't involved in and you're scared of when you're young and you don't like, and you just go, I still do it. We all do it. I can't fucking stand hip hop. I'm sure there's lovely blokes in there, but fuck, I hate it.
I'm recording a hip-hop album, so I'll be sure to send you a copy. Yeah, it's funny that, because I've been doing all these shows called Comedians vs. Rappers, where it's like 3 comedians on one side, 3 rappers on the other. We have roast battles, improv stuff, and then a rap battle. And usually the comedians own the first half of the show, and the rappers own the second half. But I've met some really good people in hip-hop. But to be fair, 90% of them are fucking meth-head fuckwits, so you've made a pretty good assessment there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can be impressed sometimes with the way they've structured words and these big sort of monologues they've riffed out, but I hate listening to it. I hate it.
Yeah, fair enough. I get it. When you started doing stand-up, were you more jokey?
Oh, yeah,
well,
totally.
It had to be, right?
Totally. One-liners, deadpan.
What do you feel like when you listen? Like, do you go back? Have you ever gone back and listened to your earlier?
I don't even know if I've got any of it on tape. I was so slack at taping any of that stuff. But I was like that because I was, I was on stage all my life, but playing drums. So doing comedy is just horrifying to begin with, It is, as I say, it's the one art form, if we want to call it an art form, but, it's the one creative, form of expression that unlike music or acting or even painting, it's you have to start on the stage in front of people. You can't practice. You can write some jokes and read some comedy books by really good guys and get some pointers and steal someone's joke who's a bit underground that, no one's heard it, just so you've got some... I stole a couple of Bill Hicks jokes because no one had heard of him when I...
Should hear my Steve Hughes set.
Yeah.
I butchered the shit out of it.
So to me, comedy's like surfing. So if you're in a band, you can practice and then go and do a gig. If you paint a painting, you can paint it and not show anyone. If you're in a play, you have to rehearse and act and then you show the people. And like tennis, you can practice and do this, and soccer, and you can practice before you play a game, boxing, but comedy, like surfing. Surfing, how do you learn? Well, you've got to get out there, mate.
And you're going to fall in front of people.
There's no way to practice surfing without fucking getting
up
in the surf.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So comedy's like that. You can't, shall I practice? Well, it's not going to work, mate. So it's always horrifying to start comedy because it's like, God, I'm shit I'm probably pretty shit at this, but I have to start in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Something I'm noticing is there's like a 6 to 9 month swagger with comedians that start, and about 6-9 months in, they're like, you see this look and they get this sort of swagger like, I reckon in 12 months I'm going to have a Netflix special. They're just that delusion of the first year where you start to sort of get it and you have enough good gigs. And I'm noticing that as an epidemic where all these people are acting like they're going to have their next Netflix special.
I know what you mean. I when I started comedy, I thought I'll give myself 10 years to get good at comedy. I figured 10 years will probably take to understand it, perform enough.
Do you feel that's pretty accurate?
Yeah, it's great. 10 years was, that's... You do find sort of, natural talents and sort of genius types in all areas. Guys who learn guitar in a year and a half. They're not Eddie Van Halen, but, they learn fucking quick. I was in a band with a guy like that, Slaughterlord, their second guitarist who ended up on the demos. He couldn't even play guitar. He was in the band after 9 months of playing guitar, writing half those riffs, 1,000 miles an hour, like 8 months, you know.
It's like Tom Segura. He's like, I think 10 years in. It's one of the biggest comics out there.
Oh, there's some guys who just start and they're just funny. They've got a nice comedy head on them. I've never been naturally gifted at anything. I was naturally gifted at, you know, making me mates laugh, being a fun guy to hang around. If I'm in a funny mood and all that, I could make. That's why I did comedy. I thought I can make people laugh. But I was never naturally gifted at stand up because it's a completely different thing. You know, I wasn't a naturally gifted joke writer, or I wasn't a naturally gifted drummer. It took me ages to get even as, mind you, I didn't practice as much as I should have. And I look back. I didn't have anywhere to practice. Drums, they're fucking noisy. Surprised anyone gets any good ever.
True.
But yeah, I'm not one of these, you know, at school, I was never gifted at sport. And you'd see these guys, you go, how's this guy so good at footy? He's only 8. Just running around, kicking balls and balancing on his head. And, you know, everything I've sort of gotten good at, I've just had to work. I've never been lucky enough to be one of these naturally gifted guys or women that just does things just sort of bang, genetically good at it or something, you know, like. And I'm sure everyone needs to practice and train to do what they do, but some people just take to it quick, you know, like, and I've never taken to anything quick. So I thought, well, I'll give myself. Well, it's funny now because we live in that age, don't we, where you got these young fellas who do YouTube channels and then now they're selling out shows, but they've never performed. And I'm going, you don't understand, performing takes a long time. Like it's there's an invisible art to it you can't see from the audience. I know it looks like I'm just standing there talking, but there's 25 years of experience and walking on stages all over the world and dying on my ass. And so, yeah, it is funny how, you know, 6 months, maybe I'm an expert now. No, you're not an expert yet, mate.
And a lot of it is, it's coming, like, it's not an arrogance. It's just like, they feel like, I'm starting to get this. I reckon I've got this. And they don't.
Well, I don't know. As I said, some people pick it up quicker. I don't know whether if we were dealing with young people these days, they seem to be a little entitled.
Yeah.
That things should just happen quickly. And if they don't...
I could name a few names, yeah.
That's the thing. That's the era they sort of grew up in, isn't it? Sort of, don't be told no. Can't even be told you're naughty or get a good fucking slap across the head for being a bozo. You know, so...
It's funny, right? You can't be told no unless it's sexual. No means no, except every other instance. Oh, shit. So how you found it? What, you like the lounge? Comedy Lounge in Perth?
Love it. It's great gigging in Perth. I've been here a couple of times. I always thought, God, I'd never live in Perth. I probably still wouldn't live in Perth, but every time I come back, I kind of go, I like this place a bit more.
It's a good spot.
Yeah. The gigs have been great. The audiences are great. There's still a bit of rawness here compared to Sydney and Melbourne. Yeah. Like Brisbane's still got a bit of rawness about it. It sort of feels like you're in Australia in the 90s or 80s. There's a bit of...
With the most attractive people
there's
in
some
the country.
Hot chicks. God, the whole place was filled with hot women last night.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. We both woke up alone. Anyway.
Hey, speak for yourself, mate. I had a cute dog in a hoodie. Yeah. So how did you transition?
Oh, I've never...
No, sorry. How will you... was your last band Nazxul?
Yeah.
Were you doing stand-up then?
Yeah.
Okay.
My first band was Slaughterlord from about 80... We started forming about 83 and went through various amalgamations before it became the finished Slaughterlord. That only went for about a year and a half, really. Then I joined Mortal Sin. That was a band that I'd never made. I joined. Then I quit that and made Presto, which was a kind of eclectic rock band, which is the longest band I've ever been in. Made 2 albums. Hundreds of shows. Got none of this on video. It's unbelievable. People can make a video clip on their phone now, and I've done like 500 shows with this band. I haven't got any footage. It's great. No photos. It's unbelievable. And then I was doing comedy while I was in Presto, but also I was in Nazxul while I was doing comedy and in Presto. because we met them because the keyboard player at the time is Lachlan Mitchell, who still is today a big record engineer and sound engineer. He went on to become very successful. Did ARIA-nominated albums and stuff. He saw me playing at Presto and liked the band and just said, do you want to come down at night? And he worked at 301 Studios, EMI Studios in Sydney at the time. And so we'd go down there sort of midnight to dawn sessions when no one was in and just record for free. And he'd practice engineering and we'd get, some cool recordings. And then they found out, he goes, I used to drum in Slaughterlord. And he goes, well, we've got this band Nazxul, because their singer was just doing the drumming at the time. He couldn't drum. He'd just get on the kit and hit it as fast as he could. It was very funny. Once he goes, when I was recording Vermis Mysterious, that song? I went, yeah. He goes, halfway through I looked down, my foot wasn't even on the pedal anymore.
Attention to detail.
So then they found out, I was in Slaughterlord at Mortal Sin. They said, you want to drum? We've got this studio band Nazxul. And I said, yeah, I'll come in. So I just kind of joined Nazxul then. That's great. The first song I recorded with Nazxul, we did a Presto gig at Springfield. I drove back to Strathfield, dropped off my drum kit, got back in the car. It's like 3 a.m, drove back into the city, went to EMI. It's like 4 a.m. It's Hymn of a Dying Moon's the first song I recorded with them. And I'd never heard the song, and I hadn't been playing blast beats for years and stuff. And
it's a good start.
they just put the headphones on. They played me through the song once and went, right, just play as fast as you want. So it was kind of freeing for me because I've always been very interested in the bands. Not interested, but into the bands I've in, like to detail. And it was very freeing to just suddenly go, I don't even know how this song goes. I'll just fucking blast over it. And so, that was kind of cool. It's still one of my favourite Nazxul songs. It's just blistering. And it's just, I don't even really know how the song went. Just listen to it once, go by ear. Okay, it's that. All right, press record. It's pound.
Fuck, man, it's like being a drummer compared to being a comedian as far as responsibility and having to move shit and cart gear.
Oh,
this couldn't be fun.
It was a joy. Well, drumming gave me fantastic timing in comedy. I've got brilliant timing in comedy, and drumming helped, I think. But yeah, from lugging drum kits up and down stairs and back alleys and into cars to just turning up with a packet of cigarettes and the microphone's already there. I'm like, but I remember my first comedy gig, I came off stage and just thought, geez, fuck, there's no release in that. There's no release in that. There's no
in what?
Comedy, like drumming in Nazxul or some kind of band for an hour and a half on stage, pounding, you come off
drained
and grounded and tired and sweating and primal. But comedy is just sort of intellectualized. You come off and you're like a head on a stick,
Yeah.
And from the, I do need to be grounded a lot. So there's, I should have stuck to a bit more drumming in my life and kept that balance of head on stick to primal body-based grounded sweat, nice balance.
Do you reckon you'll work on like any more music projects?
Well, I've got a solo album I've recorded where I played everything and did the singing and stuff. It's a couple of years old and I still haven't put it out because I had a nervous breakdown instead, which was handy. I was going to take a year off and come to Australia for a while and bring me beautiful South African girlfriend and get me records out and compile all the footage I've filmed over the years. And instead, I just got suicidal depression for the next 5 years and went into psych wards and rehabs and didn't even have a drug problem. That's why I was with my therapist. I go, because he used to be a hardcore alcoholic, and of course, my flatmate deals with homeless guys who've got hardcore addictions, and I've had friends who've died from drugs, hardcore addictions and stuff, but I've never had hardcore addictions to drugs. I just took drugs and recreationally and drinking. Never had a problem with drinking. Sometimes didn't drink for months. I still don't drink much. And I was saying to my therapist, I said, I could understand, when people go, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. Like if I was addicted to meth or heroin or hardcore alcoholism, and I'd crawled through that self-imposed hell and got my brain and body back to functioning and the addiction's under control, and came out the other side going, oh, great, I don't take heroin or that anymore. This is fantastic, you know. But I said to my therapist one day, I said, but the problem with me trying to come to terms like, Jesus, that's fantastic, is that I wasn't addicted to any of this shit. I was having a fucking good time. My life was rocking. I was doing tours. My girlfriend was beautiful and loved metal and was cool, and I was getting money and doing shows, and every once in a while have a party and do some fucking Charlie and have a drink every now and then and having a great time. Next minute I got depression for 5 years. I thought, no, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. I don't know. It's taught me a fucking lot. It really has. And to crawl through the fire of your own interior world is, you know, probably everything, well, facing the shadow of yourself, you know. So, yeah, the dark night of the soul. I've been to fucking hell. It's real. It's in you. Like heaven. It's all in you. And I've been to both sides, and hell is a fucking hard one to get through.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you've been there.
Yeah. Like, I think I mentioned this the other day. Like in 2010? No, 2010, my mate messages me and we're talking back and forth through messages. And he's like, oh, I tried to kill myself. And I went, oh, fuck, you all right, man? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, me and the missus were going to kill ourselves. And I was like, was she okay? Just nothing. I was like, what's... It's like, no. So it turns out he killed her because she wanted him to. And then he told me, because he's like, I don't know. So then here I am, tripping on acid at the time, mind you, reading through 35 pages of brutal detailed murder confession, going, and he's a tripper. So I'm like, maybe he's on acid, like he's having a bad trip. And he's the nicest cunt ever. But turns out it actually happened. So that was the start of my downfall. Like, within 8 hours' notice, the cops have rang me. I'm in Queensland because I have to be within the state to record the phone call. And then the cops got what they wanted and they kicked me out the door. And I'm like, I've just turned one of my best friends in for murder. Don't really feel good about that because I like to be nice to my friends. But what the fuck do you do?
Jeez, the human species is a strange mob, isn't it? Me mate, who's a cool guy, I just did that because she asked me to. Yeah, well, if my girlfriend asked me to, you know, sleep in the backyard, I'd be, no.
Yeah.
So...
But they were unwell, taking drugs in the bush. I mean, it was the perfect storm of fucked up.
Oh.
But and the funny thing is, so for that year, I'm having a similar sort of year. I got put on benzos. I can't remember, about 9 months from Valium. Just, I guess I did something in those 9 months. Don't know what it was, but
they're not good benzos.
Nah. And then anyway,
I've had like one in my life. Like,
I got addicted to them bad. They're fucked.
And they're hard to get off.
Yeah.
Mate, they're brutal.
Yep.
I've tried to, they stuck me in antipsychotics and antidepressants. Not that I ever wanted to go, even from the word dot, I don't want to take these fucking things. But I was so fucked up just from depression and just exhaustion on every level, overworking and not looking after myself, that you're in a desperate situation. You can't. I remember I was at this doctor's office, and I don't know even how to explain this. I've had levels of trauma throughout my life since I was born, divorces and evil stepmothers and emotional abuse and rah. And so I've kind of always, but I could pull myself out of situations. When I reached this place, I'd realised it was almost like, how would I describe this? Psychically, I realised every foothold I had in creating a plan to get out of this has gone.
Yeah,
my life has fallen into an abyss. And I was standing at the front of this doctor's office, and I realised, and I could feel this weird feeling, and I'm like, I'm in an abyss, and I cannot formulate a plan to get out. I don't know how to get out of here. I don't know. There's no foothold. Everything I grab slips psychically into a nothing. It wasn't psychosis. It was just this understanding of the situation I was now in, psychologically and physically. I'm in a fucking mess here. Like, this is fucking tricky. This is scary. And now I have to rely on the apparent knowledge of the medical system, which is something I'm grateful for certain aspects of their expertise, but when it comes to your mental stuff, I realise you're just a lab rat for them guessing, man.
And it's just a job. Like I was put on a medication and went to the GP randomly and like, why are you taking this? Doctor put me on it. You can't take this with this medication, you can die. Well, they probably should have told me that, but they're just doing a job. I don't give a fuck about my job all of the time. I get it.
Oh, well, if you find a good one, sometimes they're just... But, how do you describe depression? That I hear some people go, when I've got depression, I just paint a smile on and I get on with it. Well, you probably haven't got depression.
That's just being sad.
Yeah, because believe me, there was no painting a smile on when there was no leaving the house. There was pacing and realising I'm in some Dante's Inferno of absolute... Why don't you just watch a film? I can't. Why? It has no meaning. Not because I'm psychotic, but because it brings no joy.
Yeah.
Why don't you put a record on? It's horrifying. It's like this part of me that it's gone. I put a Rush record on and I may as well just be having someone crumple a paper bag. Like it brings no joy, no connection. And you're just in this psychic forest of, oh, geez, how the fuck are we going to get out of here? And that you're telling me the only path is a bunch of doctors handing out psych meds. I'm like, no. That cannot be the answer.
I think for me, I've been really happy and I've been at the bottom of the barrel. But for me, the worst thing is ambivalence. When you get put on the meds and you could be like, I won the lotto. I've got cancer. Like there's no weight to anything. You just don't. It's not even not giving a fuck.
Except there's a weight to the absolute psychic pain I was in. Like I was...
Yeah.
Because mine was chemically out of whack from my years of just not looking after myself, throwing the fucking adrenals out and the cortisol all around my body and the gut not functioning properly. And just so now, that's why I don't believe it's a mental illness, not in my case. It's a physical illness that is now manifesting psychologically. Because if they're going to give me antidepressants to apparently remedy this, well, the brain is an organ. You're telling me it's affecting the brain from the uptake of serotonin and dopamine, which seems far too simplistic, even though I realise that that's an element to it. But you don't want to take antidepressants. See, the guy who's got me on now, he's going, no, what you need to do is rebuild the sort of the tendrils of the synapses to have this naturally start to happen again. You don't just want some antipsychotic that's apparently going to shut these down so it doesn't uptake serotonin too quickly and all this. So I'm like, well, that doesn't seem good.
No. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
No,
I want something that's going to cure this, like bring me back to a state. And some guy did it with supplements in the last, more than anyone did in 5 years. So, yeah, so there's many reasons of how you could be having depression, isn't there? Could be past trauma that's manifesting, could be subconscious stuff, your own shadow, who knows? If you want to get deep, it could be karmically and genetically and metaphysically, who knows? There's so many angles.
Or you watch your friend gets hit by a bus in front of you, you're going to be depressed. But you should be depressed. That's what it's for. It's the like, and the thing when I've spoken to counsellors, they can never get their head around this, but I think you would understand. Last year, I was in a bad way. There's a whole lot of shit that I can't really get into. But anyway, I had a gig. The whole way to the gig, I'm like trying to work out where I could hang the noose at home.
Oh, it's brutal. I've been there.
Did the gig.
That's why I don't understand how anybody does kill themselves. Where do you hang a noose?
Yeah, not now. It's difficult. We need a barn.
I'm quite... I'll use the word impressed, but not like, I'm impressed. But when someone kills himself... It's just so fucking hard to do. I'm almost like, how did you... Sometimes I go, it's almost like, was this karmic that this could happen to you? Because how do you hang yourself in a fucking house? Like, Chris Cornell hung himself with a rubber exercise band in a hotel door. I'm thinking, how?
I don't know. My mate Jamie did it with an extension cord. He opened the manhole, put it on a beam in there, and... Don't know.
So fucking, And I've been that fucked up, and it's horrifying. And I remember thinking to myself, how have I got to a place where the only remedy I can see for this is to fucking die? Even that And especially until that thought hits you when you're so fucking down and fucked up that you're actually just, I would just look at Wikipedia sites of famous people who've killed themselves for days on end, because it would offer me relief, just in the sense of there is a way out. And I wasn't planning to do it, but just the idea to escape this apparent inescapable psychic hell.
Yeah.
And just looking at this, what would be morbid stuff would offer me some kind of relief. It would keep I was still depressed, but it would keep it at bay as I sat there just trolling through this stuff, reading the stories about it. But that's when I also realised, how the fuck do you pull this off? Because every genetic part of your body will fight against dying. Your psychic mind will fight against dying. Your soul will probably fight against dying. And then it's fucking hard, man, to fucking do it.
I heard somebody say...
and it's horrifying.
Yeah. I heard somebody say about the best description of being suicidal I've ever heard. Because nobody understands, well, how could they do it? It's so selfish. But, and they said, imagine you're in a sauna and it gets way too hot and you got to get out, but the door leads nowhere. And I heard that and went, fuck, that's
it, man.
Yeah.
I know. Like wherever I mean, physical pain can be as debilitating, but psychic pain, and I'm not putting down physical pain because it can be fucking brutal. Some people have to live with it constantly. I've had a car accident which has rendered some of my muscles sort of inactive. So, so for certain, I can't swim as much as I used to, or do weights like I used to, but I'm not in pain. Now, aesthetically, there's parts of my body now which are quite fucked up from this car accident. But I'll go for looking bad in underpants over constant pain.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And when you've got that kind of psychic pain, that's... Because sometimes you can at least disconnect from physical pain.
Self-harm. You cut yourself.
I mean, sometimes, if it's toe brutal, like I had sciatica constant in the 90s for 3 fucking months or something till this acupuncturist fixed me. No matter what position you put your leg in.
Yeah, I had that issue too.
Yeah, it's just, and it will drive you fucking insane eventually. But also, that's depression, hardcore depression. It's weird, but so painful and you can't get out. It is like that sort. I can't get out.
Oh, I can get out, but yeah,
it's hard to open that fucking door.
Yeah, that's right. And party doesn't want to open the door.
And you don't know where it leads.
No one does.
So, it's brutal fucking world, man. But
have you known anyone that's died and come back? Aside from our Lord and Saviour, of course. I've got a couple of mates that have like broken their neck and things and died and come back. They said they didn't see anything, but I would assume that's the case if you're dead.
Well, who knows?
I don't fucking know.
No, I've had mates who died and didn't come back.
It's kind of more impressive if you come back, though, isn't it?
They didn't kill themselves. They just some were ill and accidents and
yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we've freaked you out enough for this.
So, Steve, what does a comedian do? What do we do in this PC world? How do we fix it? You're the man to solve these problems.
Oh, I don't know. You just, as far as I'm concerned, you just keep saying what you want to say. Until a SWAT team turn up, put a boot on my neck, and threaten to take me off to some secret prison. I just think, you can't kowtow to this. You're doing a service to your community and your society by not kowtowing to this. You totally are. I believe that. You're totally doing a service. I believe a lot of these PC people, apart from the fact that brainwashed some of the young ones, you're traitors to your nation.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You're a traitor. You sit there, you keep telling me that I live in white privilege when I live in a white society. It's not privilege, it's a white society.
We're just here.
Same as any culture that is homogenous to a degree, which is what cultures and races are. The Japanese don't have Japanese privilege; they have Japanese culture. Like if you want to live in the West and in Australia, it's not white privilege, as much as I do know that I grew up on stolen land from colonialism, I'm not adverse to that. I know it. I used to sit in places like Scotland and Sweden and think, I wonder what it's like to be Swedish from Sweden.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. I'm a white man who grew up in some colonised land. So I used to be a big lefty because and I don't, and has that colonisation caused some grave injury to the original people here? Yes, it has. Not going to deny that. You move anyone into its area, you could say that about introducing rabbits to an environment that's not them, and now they end up they started to do things we didn't think they'd do. They started to eat all that stuff which is connected to that stuff. Yeah, right. But, I also don't live in the world like I used to where history's not 400 years old. Lots of races have gone around stealing land, murdering other tribes, people, cultures, not just white men.
No, Genghis Khan apparently changed the carbon footprint of the earth because he killed so many people.
Oh, mate, there's, Muslims have run around in Europe taking bits, stealing people, having slaves. The Asians have run around, kill that lot, take that lot, wipe out that lot. Humans have done that. White men, you remember, because we've done it with technology probably the most recently in the last 400 years, which has given you Canada, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa per se, but I started to read into a lot of these. So, yeah, there is some problems that's gone on with the Indigenous people in these places. Granted, you've disconnected them from the land, you've introduced alcohol and things to them, right? You disconnect people from their culture and land, you almost disconnect them from the Great Mother, don't you? So they become traumatised, like any child, like me, disconnected. I have issues with my upbringing. Why? Because my mother didn't really want kids, and then there's divorce when I'm 4 to go with another woman who's a complete bitch. So, this is stuff probably added to my mental breakdown. Why? Because I didn't deal with it. I decided I could just become a workaholic and perhaps,
It's hard to find your privilege in all there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know what you're saying about I know what they think, right, because they view white countries as multicultural, which is interesting, while calling them racist. So they call them inherently racist, but they are multicultural. So then they think, well, why isn't all the other cultures that live here having the same privilege? Why aren't they as seen in the things as the white people? Because this is first, the host nation is white Western.
Yeah.
That's the host, same as if I go to Japan, that's the host nation. It's Japanese, China, India, Brazil.
But that's what I've never got. When you go to another country, do you try to change that country? Do you enjoy being there?
No, I don't try to change it, right? So I don't even know how we got onto this. So I do understand that, I wrote this joke. I haven't done it on stage yet. If they want to keep going, why shouldn't it just be a big multicultural mess of no homogenous host, sort of a host culture, a certain direction? And I go, well, you can't even have that because, you're from Australia and you stole that land. And I'm thinking, yeah, we stole it. Not the Indians, not the Chinese. We did. Go and steal your own culture.
Well put, man.
See, the Indians can go back to India. Well, we could go back to Europe, really. And I did. And I probably will again.
Nice.
But yeah. We pinched this, not you. You don't rob a bank and then go giving the money out willy-nilly. A lot of work and effort went into this theft.
It was a well-orchestrated plan. It wasn't just a packet of Chewy at the servo.
Oh, God, imagine the people upset with that joke. What's wrong with this guy? With his white privileged racist bastard he is.
Well, I think back to when I was a kid when Dad was fucking dragging me through the backyard by the hair and slapping me in the face. I didn't feel too privileged that day,
I know what they think. I
get it.
I get what they're saying with their privilege. They think, well, why does the white host nation get to sort of have itself displayed and express its form of, what about the other cultures that live here? Yeah, but they're not from this culture.
And they also can freely express themselves.
And I'm saying that, yeah. And they go, well, And I'm not going they should keep their fucking bullshit to themselves and just shut the fuck up and do. But there's the other great thing. You can just be what you want here, right? But I'm starting to have a more conservative viewpoint where you do have to have a kind of host identity, a collective identity. Otherwise, you have nothing.
Yeah.
What are you going to have? What kind of morals are you going to follow? It would be wonderful if you could all get along in a kind of global village, right? I would stand up for these ideas as something to be pursued, but this is not the method to pursue it, because the method to pursue is such a wonderfully evolved state of being, as far as I'm concerned, where you can get on with anyone in the world, and I can get on with anyone in the world. I've been to 37 countries. There's some 22-year-old pink-haired lunatic calling me a racist. Have you even left Coburg? Where have you been? Right? I can get on with anyone. You go to a place and you meet some people there, and they're all right, and you're all right, and you say good day, and they offer you a drink, and you say, yeah. I'll chat to a bloke from Saudi Arabia or the Middle East or Brazil or Africa or fucking Iceland or Canada or American Indian or some guy from Burma. I don't give a fuck. I don't have an issue. I know they're all human beings. I can tell. 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, head, skull, skin, staring, high.
Yeah.
Human. yeah, right. But don't tell me that you can just mix it higgledy-piggledy and think that everyone will have the same fucking... Because a guy who grew up in a Muslim village in northern Africa does not see the world the same way a bloke who brought up in the suburbs of Perth sees the world.
Yeah.
Now, if you think that's racist, you're an idiot, but it's just truth.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So the way they may want to pursue the way they live life could be through a lens of complete different shit. So, I get their point sometimes. Why can't we all just get together and live and get on? Yeah. But here's the funny thing. Most of the time, we are.
Yeah.
I'm wandering around these cities in these apparent racist Western countries, and there's just people of different places everywhere. I don't see people hacking each other to death in the street and going, right? I just see people sitting on the train, g'day, mate, what's going on here? I'm all right. Of course, there's some dickheads who still love to be ignorant, but they're everywhere.
There's a few.
And not just white people, everywhere. I mean, everywhere. As if white people are the only racist people ever to exist in the universe. I'm like, oh, God, you're an ignorant cunt.
Let's be fair, though. White people, pretty good at it.
No, but that's only because we've seen it.
We've practiced.
No, but so have everyone else.
I know, I'm just fucking with you.
Go and meet the Asians. Find out which part they hate. The Koreans hate the Japs hate the fucking Taiwanese, the Taiwanese hate... Well, I don't know if I've got the specifics right here, but you know what I'm saying.
I get the drill, yeah.
I've been there. I've heard them. We fucking hate that lot.
I don't have their chart of rankings, but...
I don't know the specifics or the reasons or the whatnot.
The funny thing is, if you're like Koreans, Japanese is always 2, even though the Japanese fucked them over. Chinese, Japanese is always 2, even though it's odd to me. Somehow they've still maintained a high rating.
I'm sure you can go to Africa and find out that the Sudanese hate the fucking Gambians or whatever. Why do you hate them? Oh, a reason that goes back from the way I don't know, but we fucking hate that one. Yeah, is that not ignorance? Is it... Who knows? Maybe they've got a fair dinkum reason why they fucking hate them.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't hate many people, but I have reasons for the ones I hate.
Yeah, so, I'm just not going to buy into all this fucking white privilege deconstruction of the host culture if you don't want... anyone should just be able to come here. Well, it doesn't work like that. I used to think those things. Why can't anyone just live where they want and carry on? Because as I've gotten older, I realised, because it doesn't fucking work. This doesn't turn into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory like you'd hope.
No.
There's certain elements that, do you have the infrastructure, the jobs, the ability to have all this happen? If I've got a bus that seats 12 people and there's already 17 people on it, I can't pick up the hitchhikers.
Yeah. Right. But if you don't,
I'm not racist because I don't pick them up, right? It's because logistically we can't fucking fit them in. Now, is Australia what you can't fit them in? Well, you can. There's heaps of space. But who wants to live in the middle bit? No one.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Even the people that live in the middle bit don't want to live there. Yeah.
So, how many people can you put on the island of England? It's only so big. Should we just have, 5 million people live in England now? Or, not 5 million, 5 billion people. Live at 5 million people already do live in England. I'm talking about 70 fucking million live there. But you know what I mean? So we just have what? 450 million people live in England now? Where? In the rivers and in the trees. And
I don't know if it was you or someone recently was talking about, how in Europe, people are sort of saying to the Germans, you're bigots and racists or whatever because you don't want all these people in. But then someone's like, hang on, I've been living here my whole life. In the last month, there's been 40,000 people come into our small town.
Yeah.
I do. We need to address this.
Yeah.
There's one corner store and I work there and I'd like to keep
and
my
not
job.
40,000 French people.
Within the union.
Who at least you have a common sort of,
relationship
culture with, per se. No, 40,000 blokes from North Africa now live in a tiny village in the south of France. Well, this is going to cause some... Okay, I'm sure some of them meet there and get on famously. I'm not an idiot, but there will be some hiccups.
Yeah. I assume learning German in school isn't a high priority in Namibia.
And don't think that, there's not going to be some hiccups and some people have some legitimate fucking complaints.
Yeah.
That's why I won't join these fucking PC lunatics. He must be a racist then. Oh, God, you're an idiot. Am I dealing with school children?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I arguing with children here? I'm supposed to be talking to an adult, aren't I? And I used to be like them. I was always a lefty. I didn't have a political allegiance because I wasn't, and I'm still not politically learned enough. I don't know the complexities of politics. I would never debate someone who's a political scientist, the understanding of global politics when it comes to bureaucracy, law and statutes, and I can't claim that. I'm a guy who left school at 16 because he wanted to be in fucking Motley Crue, I'm not going to claim sort of intellectual, academic, but come on, Jesus Christ, just you don't run around just calling everybody a name because they don't agree with you. It's as simple as fucking that. It just doesn't work like that. And I used to be one of them. I've never been a racist. I'm not standing here because, are you just saying that now? No, I don't have to defend myself. I just never fucking have. So there's nothing in me that needs to defend myself. I've never raped a chick. I've never hit a chick. I've never thought that chicks were shit. I've never picked on the kid at school who was fucking... I hung around the kids who got picked on at school. They were more interesting to me.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. Right. I didn't like yobbos who played sport and thought it was great to hassle the kid with big ears. From that, I did have a bit of a sort of... probably that lefty stuff comes up in you, and I realise, I've been a hypocrite in my comedy, running around screaming about fucking New World Orders and fucking Israel and all this kind of stuff, and really, I hadn't dealt with my own shit. Before I even had to break that, I wrote a joke. What am I actually up to? I mean, what do I think Israel's going to do? Are they going to launch some attack and then I'm just going to ring Tel Aviv, am I? And just go, hello? And I'll be going, who's this? It's Steve. Fuck, Steve's on the phone. Put the cannons away. What are you up to? Oh, we're not doing anything, Steve. Yeah. Now, am I saying that, I just don't give a fuck about what's happening to people who are suffering? No, but I can't solve the fucking world's problems as one bloke.
No.
Does that mean you shouldn't even try? Well, okay. Because I know the questions they throw at you.
Yeah.
As if I just give up and don't care and sit around watching Pornhub and Game of Thrones and smoking weed. And who gives a fuck? Oh, there's a kid got run over in the street. I don't give a fuck. It's not mine. No, but, really how much of the... Plus, you live on the earth. Shit goes down. Horrible shit that you can't do anything about. Right now, as we do this podcast, there's someone in a village somewhere in Africa getting their fucking hands hacked off. That's happening right now. There's someone getting fucking raped somewhere. There's someone locked in a cellar. There's someone's fucking plotting to burn down their sister's house and fucking kill her pets. There's horrible shit going on. Right? Like, I can't take that on all board. Billy Connolly said it years ago when he was watching he goes, why do they show this stuff? Oh, the global news, 10,000 people killed in a mudslide in Peru. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Do I have to know about this?
100%.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So I was kind of, that's a funny thing because I understand where they're coming from because I was like that. But a lot of it was from my own anger from not dealing with my own internal fucking world of shit I needed to deal with and start to deal with my issues.
Yeah.
So,
Here we are.
What was it? There's a great Charles Bukowski quote. He goes, you can only change the world one man at a time. Everything else is romanticism and politics.
Fuck, man. That's good. Yeah. Shit. Fuck. Well, man, thanks so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, loved it.
I don't know if I've told you this, but yeah, after I got out of the nut house, the day after, I went and saw your show in 2011 at the Powerhouse.
And then I was straight back in the next day.
Yeah. No, it took a while to go back. Yeah, about 6 years. But
good.
Seeing that show is what inspired me to be a comedian. So thank you, sir.
No worries.
I'm very happy we can chat today.
Yeah.
I'm going to tear it up tonight.
All right.
All right. Thanks, brother.
See you, brother.
Cheers, man. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. That was the one and only Steve Hughes. Please follow the show if you enjoyed it at Hypermanic Noize on Facebook. You can find it on all the podcast apps, as you've done if you've got this far. Please give it a 5-star comment or a positive rating. 5-star rating or a positive comment makes more sense, dickhead. So yeah, enjoy, guys. I look forward to hearing from you next time. This is Hayden Douglas. Oh yeah, and also follow me on social media at Old Mate Douglas. Hayden Douglas, the one and only. Stick that up your bum, you motherfuckers. Have fun.
I'm faster than the speed of light. Shotgun brought into a knife fight. When I'm in a downward spiral, I'm fucking miserable. Now I'm on the upswing. I am invincible. No panic, I'm a little bit manic, charismatic and erratic, ecstatic for the mania. Satanic, I'm addicted to the rush. I'm just a little bit manic. Don't panic, I'm a little bit manic, charismatic and